is Allison Beamer. I am a student at Cal State Long Beach. Next semester, I hope to be student teaching. As long as I pass all my classes, here's to hoping. And today I want to talk about my philosophy regarding not just education, but teaching reading with technology. So that's a very specific one. And as far as reading goes, the first thing that comes to mind is, hey, I'm a big book nerd. I read all of the time, like all of the time. Every week I've probably gone through at least 2 to 3 books. I access them on Kindle. Kindle has this great feature where you can look up free books. You can break it up by genre, and then you can go up into this little tab thing right here, and it will break it up by popularity, and then you can look at from prices, lowest to highest, and the lowest priced books are 0, so they're free. The content's not great because these are self-published books, but I have access to hundreds of them. And so I am constantly reading these free books because, hey, broke college student right here. And it's a pleasurable experience for me. And I hear students saying all the time when I'm in my observations, or I hear reported back to me from my professors, students don't like reading. Some of them read the bare minimum when it comes to, whatever content they're reading in their classes, and the others, if they're not reading in class, they are not reading at all. The truth is, we read all the time. We read in our emails, we read texts, we read when we go onto Reddit and on Facebook and Twitter. We are reading and we are writing all of the time. So why is that important in a classroom with technology? What makes that important? Well, here's the thing. As far as English goes, English is a power language. It is a power language all over the world. It is a powerful business language. If you go almost anywhere in the world and you're having a big business meeting, one of the languages that is going to be prevalent is English. So in regards to reading, I want my students to be able to read coherently, read comprehensively, understand what they're reading, but reading and writing go hand in hand. So when we are reading, we're going over vocabulary, and the vocabulary is then something that they need to be able to use in their writing to show me, hey, I understood what we were reading. So those are a couple of things that are super important for me. Is definitely like, if you don't love reading, that is okay. But if you're in my classroom, one of my hopes is that I teach you to appreciate reading and to understand that reading is not just picking up, To Kill a Mockingbird and answering the questions in the study guide for the teacher. There's so much more to reading, which is where critical thinking comes in. And for me, as far as my educational philosophies go, I'm all about critical theorists. My favorite is Paulo Freire and his Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Also, he has another Pedagogy of Love, and that's my favorite, is the Pedagogy of Love. And showing students that when you come into this classroom, I love you, I appreciate you, I care about what you have to say, I want to know what you have to say, and beyond that, I want you to challenge. That's a huge thing for me in terms of when you're reading something and when you are writing something in my classroom. My hope is that you challenge it, that you don't take anything that I present as at face value. What is important about this? Is it important to you? Is it not important to you? Why? Explain. Extend your answer. Those are super important things in terms of my philosophy of reading and also writing, because again, as I've said before, reading and writing go hand in hand for me. Also making sure that my students are engaged. That's a very hard one to do when we are incorporating technology into our classrooms. How do I keep you engaged? How do I make sure you're engaged? And there's a lot of different strategies that can be used to make sure. One of them is to have students work in pairs or in groups when they are doing anything on a device. Sometimes that is just not going to be an option, but making sure that students are not in isolation when they are reading, that they have somebody, hey, I read this part and this is what I thought, and what do you think about this, And when I'm giving my students these things to read, so when they are reading To Kill a Mockingbird, or let's say that we are on a Reddit thread, or we are on some sort of thread online where they're talking about any topic, and there are many that I can think of that I really want to get going. So I'm trying to think of an example right now, and I don't have one. But there are just numerous ways that students can read and write using technology, and it is super important that I emphasize that to them, especially explaining, hey, when you leave this classroom, when you leave a high school setting, you're going to be looking for jobs. You're going to be applying to colleges. Can you write a college application? Can you write a resume? You're going to be signing contracts in terms of jobs, or let's say you have a lease you need to sign for an apartment. You need to understand the language. So those are a couple more reasons why, for me, reading and writing are very important. In fact, as far as technology goes, the last lease I signed was online, and I had to read it and go through it in an online doc. So the way that content is presented to us is also changing, and that's why it's important for me to emphasize in my ELA classes, this is what we're reading. Why are we reading it? What are we looking for? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And that can be looking at legal documents. It could be looking at opinion pieces. It could be stating their own opinions and reading one another's opinions regarding whatever topic we're talking about. And then when we go into the reading, a huge thing for me is lenses. There are so many different lenses that we can use to look at articles and novels and, threads online, Facebook, Twitter. Lenses. Something I had never heard of until I went to college. I had never heard of a critical theorist until after community college. So you can take a text like The Yellow Wallpaper, and you can break it down using feminist theory. Or you can look at writing that has to do with colonization and look at it through a colonizing theory. Or you can also look at a lot of these texts through environmentalist theories and looking at how we talk about the land in terms of female and male pronouns. And those are very important things that we want to talk about. Why do we treat the land the way that we treat it? Why do we treat women the way we treat them today? Why do we treat them the way we did, 50, 60 years ago? All of these things you can break down and discuss using reading, and then to prove comprehension, writing about it. That's why I always include writing when I talk about reading. What else can we talk about today? So we talked about lenses, we talked about reading and comprehension, having kids, making sure that my students are engaged, finding, strategies to make sure they are engaged, telling students why we're doing what we're doing, and remembering that you are loved when you're in my classroom. There's a human rule. I treat you like a human. You treat me like a human. We're going to bring humanity back into the classroom, and we're going to dissect the world, go on journeys all around the world, and dive into all kinds of crazy different things, because reading and writing are important, and reading and writing are two things that definitely will ensure academic and workplace success. So that's why those two things really matter to me in my philosophy. I'm Allison Beamer, student at Cal State Long Beach. Thank you for watching. I hope I gave you a little bit of an insight into what my philosophy regarding teaching reading with technology is. Have a great day. I hope you guys are safe, because this is also happening during COVID-19. Bye.